Hey, Pastor Nathan here. Let's jump into it. I want to share the 3 roots of most of the problems and issues in our life. And we all have things that we deal with internally, of why we do some of the things we do. And I want to talk about what those 3 roots are. But before I do that, I want to share a quick story with you. The summer after my senior year in high school, I went to an inner city missions trip to inner city DC. I was really looking forward to it. I was excited about doing it. Really a great opportunity, some great work in inner city DC, and I was really enjoying it. And so the one night after a long day of ministry, one of our youth leaders, Tim, invited me to hang out with him in the lobby. And so we sat down. He said, "Hey Nathan, can I say something to you? Can I share something with you that I'm really concerned about when it comes to you and something I've observed?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He said, "Nathan, you have an anger problem." And I was like, "What?" It's like, "You have an anger problem, and I've been watching you, bro, and you've got an anger problem." And of course, my immediate internal reaction is, I don't have an anger problem. And so right there was proving the point. But as we began to discuss, God really began to deal with my heart and what was really going on the inside of me. And he began to ask me questions. "Nathan, why do you think that anger is there? What is going on the inside of you that's causing that anger to come up the way it does?" And so as we wrestle with that, I found out kind of what the main core issue was, and I was able to deal with it in a way that was helpful. And for me, anger was just one of the issues. And for all of us, we've all got problems or things that kind of symptomatic in our life of some root core problems. And it could be anything from just acting out, just rebelling against God. Could be a bitterness and resentment, being angry and bitter and resentful toward a person or a circumstance. It could be depression or worry and anxiety. It could be, like I said, anger. It could be you being abusive. This is a way it could show up in your life. It could be guilt issues, self-esteem issues of how you view yourself and your past or just yourself in general. It could be addictions, and maybe addictions is the way. It could be in food and drugs and pornography and all kinds of things. Addictions could be playing out in what the root core issue is. But again, all of those are just surface issues. And what happens is many times we try to deal with the rebellion, just the stupid acts that we're doing. Could be we're trying to deal with the depression. We try to deal with the addiction. Many people go into rehab over and over and over, and they deal with just the symptoms of the addiction, but they never deal with the core root issue. So here's what I want to share with you. There are 3 core roots to all of the major symptoms in our life, the problems in our life, the things that are going on the inside of us, and I want to share them with you. The first one is hurts. Hurts could be this issue of what's been done to us by someone else, or what we've done and we've hurt ourselves. Could be physically, it could be emotionally, it could be spiritually, but hurts is one of the core roots of some of the major issues in our life. It could be fears. Fears almost always has to do with the future unknown. I just don't know what's going to happen, and because I'm afraid about what's happening in my life, in my relationships, in my marriage, with my kids, in my workplace, my finances, out of this fear, these symptoms kind of come out, and they begin to act out in these different ways. And then the third root of all these is frustrations. And this is many times when we feel like we're not in control anymore. I'm frustrated. I wrote a script for my life. It's not playing out the way I wanted to. I don't feel like I have any control, and out of that frustration comes many of these symptoms. And so I'm trying to do some of these things that I can control. And so these are the 3 core issues. So if and the reason why we've got to figure out which one of these 3 core issues is driving the train in these symptoms is because if we don't deal with our feelings will deal with us. If I didn't have dealt with this anger issue, I was going to take that into my marriage and into my family, and what kind of a dad I was going to be, and in the workplace as a pastor, whatever job you do. If you don't deal with these feelings, they're going to deal with you. And when you express these symptoms, these other problems and issues, they end up breaking you and breaking the people around you. So it's important that we're figuring out what is these 3 core root issues in our life. Hurts, the fears. If it's frustrations, then we're dealing out with them. And how do we do that? How do we deal these things out? Well, ultimately what we need to do is once we realize what that hurt, what that fear, and what that frustration is, we need to bring it to God. Listen to Psalm chapter 55, verse 22. It says this: "Cast your burdens on the Lord, and He will sustain you." Cast your burdens on the Lord, and He will sustain you. We need to drag that hurt, that wound, that frustration, that fear to God, and allow God to speak truth into that issue. Allow Him to bring healing into that issue. but we first have to know what that core issue is. So I would encourage you, take some time, pray, begin to think, God, where is this issue? What's this problem coming from? This area of my life that I'm acting out in. God, would you help me discover what the wound is, what I'm fearful of, and what is the frustration? What am I frustrated about? I want to encourage you to take some time to do that. If you don't deal with your feelings will deal with you. I love you. I'm praying for all of you. Thanks a lot.